The trees in the forest were lush and luxuriant as its crown shielded the forest from the sun. A group of 40 to 50 wild wolves fiercely surrounded a girl who looked to be around 16 years old. Bai Qingqing's legs went limp as she held up her canvas bag like it was a weapon. Don't come near me. I'm Chinese. My flesh is poisonous. She was truly pitiful. She had merely made use of the long weekends to head up a mountain with her friends to pray for blessings. Having tripped due to a stroke of bad luck, she was now placed in this world-changing situation. Could someone tell her what was happening? She loudly asked for the help. Anyone please help me. Finally, after confirming that the prey didn't have a guardian, the alpha wolf roared and ran towards Bai Qingqing. The taut nerves in Bai Qingqing's head finally snapped. She did something that most women would do when frightened. She screamed at the top of her lungs, "Ah!" In the blink of an eye, a muscular leopard suddenly jumped out from behind Bai Qingqing. Before her scream ended, Bai Qingqing widened her eyes, her voice instantly traveling the entire mountain path all the way up. Bai Qingqing was still in a state of shock. She sat on a tree branch, panting heavily as she held onto a large tree trunk. She stared blankly as the leopard fought the wolf pack. The leopard saved me? This must be a dream, right? She had heard of dolphins saving people, but she had never heard of leopards saving people. The lithe leopard ran over from the grass that had corpses strewn across the ground, jumped into the air, and suddenly transformed into a naked man. He was tall and slender, but he was highly flexible. His feet, which maintained his running posture, landed lightly and agilely on the ground. Then, with a few jumps, he arrived on the tree, his golden eyes staring intently at Bai Qingqing. So beautiful. How could there be such a beautiful female? Parker felt like his heart had been impaled by a claw. He was certain that he had fallen in love with this female at first sight. Extremely anxious, he crouched in front of the female and asked her, "Female, are you okay?" Parker felt that the female was so beautiful that he forgot to breathe. Bai Qingqing grew timid in front of the leopard, which had turned into a naked man, staring at her. She shifted backward, but the man only moved closer towards her. She nervously shook her head. "I'm okay. My name's Bai Qingqing. Thank you for saving me." "That's good. I'm Parker, a male leopard." Parker crouched in front of Bai Qingqing and inhaled deeply as he looked at her carefully. This action caused a huge thing between his legs to swing about wildly. Bai Qingqing's face instantly flushed. He was behaving like a pervert. Why aren't you wearing clothes?" Bai Qingqing asked. She turned her head away, but her eyes couldn't help but look in that direction. This was her first time seeing a male penis in her life. "What the hell? That thing was huge, wouldn't it swing about when he walked?" Parker replied nonchalantly, "What's there to be afraid of? It's just you." "Hey, even if it's just me, I'm still a person." Bai Qingqing was speechless. Bai Qingqing wasn't a fool. Looking at all the signs, she had transmigrated, perhaps even to another planet. Based on what Parker said, all the people here seemed to be animals that could transform into humans. Hence, he also considered her an animal. After understanding the situation, Bai Qingqing willed herself to remain calm as she said, "Guess." As Parker looked at the female's beautiful and exquisite features, he couldn't help but be reminded of the beast men known for their beauty. "Fox?" Bai Qingqing looked at Parker, not saying a word. "Peacock? Merfolk?" Unable to think of any other answers, Parker made wild guesses. "Tiger? Bear? Leopard? Eagle? Snake? Ape?" Bai Qingqing's eyes lit up and she replied loudly, "Ape. I'm an ape." Humans evolved from apes, so saying that she was an ape was probably the best way to avoid being exposed. Parker's golden brown eyebrows furrowed together slightly. "You're an ape." The ape beast men were smart, but he hated them. He always felt like he was being plotted against whenever he interacted with them. "Why are you out in the forest by yourself?" "The forest is too dangerous for a female." Bai Qingqing averted her eyes before replying naturally, "I wandered away from my people and then ended up here all by myself." "What is this place?" Parker smiled, revealing his white teeth. "That's good." "What?" Bai Qingqing froze. "I found you, so from now on, you're mine." She started crying and said, "What did I do to deserve this? What's with all of this bad luck that's happening to me? What do you even want?" She continued to argue with Parker, but fear set in after she looked at the gloomy forest around her. She didn't dare to go overboard and kept quiet once she was no longer able to rebut his words. Parker transformed back into his animal form and was full of joy as he carried the female he'd found on his back and ran back to his tribe's village. The leopard village was located between two mountain peaks. It was known as the Camel Hump Valley due to the mountain peaks resembling camel humps. Parker released the dead wolf from his jaws and bent his forelimbs such that his upper body was on the ground. Bai Qingqing immediately got the hint and slid down his back. "The area in front is where my tribe and I currently live," Parker said. He had transformed back into a human at this point. When Bai Qingqing looked over out of curiosity, she saw him crouching over the lake and scooping out a handful of mud. He then walked over to Bai Qingqing and smeared it all over her face. "Ah!" Bai Qingqing screamed. As she avoided him, she haphazardly wiped at her face and asked, "What are you doing?" Parker grabbed Bai Qingqing's arm and evenly spread out the mud on her face. Since you're so pretty, if you go back with me just like that, those thirsty males will definitely remember you. As your mate, I'm not afraid of being challenged by those guys, but what if they take you away from me when I'm not looking? Bai Qingqing glared at Parker, feeling embarrassed and angry. What? I didn't even agree to be your mate. After Parker let go of Bai Qingqing, she was about to wash her face by the river when she heard him say in an aggressive voice, if you wash your face, I'll scratch it so that it becomes disfigured and you'll never look pretty again. Bai Qingqing froze. She'd seen how bloodthirsty this leopard could get, so she didn't doubt that he would really do something like that. Humph. I won't wash my face then. Bai Qingqing was naturally unhappy that he had threatened her. Once she got to that village or whatever, she'd find an opportunity to get away from this man. He was too dangerous. Parker instantly beamed with pleasure. He then happily skinned the wolf and cut open its chest. After rinsing it clean, he said to Bai Qingqing, okay, let's go. Camel Hump Valley was up ahead. A small river flowed through the valley. The valley gradually appeared as Parker unhurriedly walked forward. The river divided the valley in two. At the base of the mountain peaks were several wooden houses with humans and large animals walking around outside. They both reached to the village. The tribe made Bai Qingqing feel like she'd entered a zoo when in reality she was the one being surrounded and watched. Bai Qingqing remembered reading in a book that some savage tribes painted their faces as a symbol of status and power. Parker had more tattoos on his face than others. Did this mean he had a very high status? The beast men quickly gathered around when they noticed the smell of a stranger. Parker, where'd you find this female? She's so dirty. But she smells nice. I like her. And she's still single. I wonder if she's come of age yet. Bai Qingqing nervously grabbed onto Parker's fur as she watched the people and beasts surround them. With food still in Parker's mouth, a threatening roar ripped from his throat and his sharp gaze scanned the beast men around them. They all stepped back but continued to look her up and down. Under the scorching gaze of tens of beast men, Bai Qingqing swallowed her saliva with much difficulty. Her plan to get away from Parker had to be put on hold. Step aside, said a female voice from the back of the crowd. Bai Qingqing's eyes lit up. A female. Talking to a female would be easier. The males quickly stepped aside, allowing 3 females wearing tube tops and skirts made of animal skin to walk over. Bai Qingqing couldn't believe it. How could the males and females look so different despite being of the same species? They have high noses and squinty eyes. They're wearing crop tops even though they have flabby bellies. A woman with an upturned nose and narrow eyes asked. Parker, where did this filthy female come from? With prey still in his mouth, Parker said in a muffled voice, I found her. She's my female from now on. All mine. No one is to make a move on her. Parker then rushed out of the crowd. Bai Qingqing was shocked at the females of this world. She sat on Parker with a blank expression and didn't say a word. The woman with an upturned nose stomped her foot angrily. How could he do that? A man immediately embraced the woman with an upturned nose and placated her in a soft voice. Don't be angry, Eudora. Our Eudora is the most beautiful female. Parker just couldn't appreciate your beauty and even rejected you. Let's not associate ourselves with him in the future. However, Parker firmly rejected Eudora after she confessed to him, causing her to feel extremely frustrated. Parker and Bai Qingqing quickly arrived at Parker's home as it was located at the edge of the village closest to the forest. He put her down, transformed into a human, and said, you must be hungry, female. I'll grill some meat for you to eat. Parker grabbed a skirt made of animal skin from inside the house and put it on. He then carried a pile of dried firewood to the entrance and made a fire. Parker suddenly asked, what flavor do you like? Bai Qingqing's foot hurt after she walked around the house. She then walked over to Parker and sat next to him on the ground. Her clothes were dirty, anyway. What flavors are there? Anything's fine. I'll go with whatever you're eating, Bai Qingqing replied, seeing that Parker hadn't prepared any seasonings for the food. Her stomach suddenly grumbled, but she didn't have much of an appetite. Do you have any rice? The smiling Parker's expression suddenly changed. He glared at Bai Qingqing with an especially agitated look on his face. Don't even think about it. Do you know how many males died of hunger because they planted rice for wretched females like you? Parker's ferocious eyes flashed with bitter hatred. I'll help you get anything you want to eat except for rice. I hate finicky females the most. Bai Qingqing was shocked. Was growing rice very dangerous? How could it have killed such strong beast men? She temporarily brushed aside the doubts in her mind and replied, fine, I won't eat rice. You don't have to be so fierce. Parker's expression immediately lightened up and he even reached out to touch Bai Qingqing's head. Good girl. Bai Qingqing massaged her ankle, only realizing then that it had become swollen. She couldn't help but wince. Ah! Ouch, Parker immediately asked. What's wrong? Bai Qingqing continued massaging her ankle and answered indifferently, it's fine. Parker was alarmed at her swollen ankle. He quickly put down the firewood and lifted up her leg to get a closer look. Oh my god, you're injured. Bai Qingqing was stunned at Parker's horrified reaction. I can't believe I didn't notice it earlier. I'm sorry. Parker looked extremely guilty as he kissed and blew at her ankle. Bai Qingqing's face turned red. She kicked and prodded at Parker's chest with her leg, but he didn't move an inch. Instead, the counterforce caused her to feel immense pain in her ankle and cry out in pain. Parker instantly freaked out. He carried Bai Qingqing on his back and ran to the village doctor's place, not caring about the meat. Harvey! Harvey, are you there? Parker carried Bai Qingqing and rushed to a wooden house at the edge of the village. A young man walked out upon hearing Parker's shouts. He looked smaller than the rest of the beastmen in the tribe, but he was still relatively muscular by modern standards. He had no tattoos on his face and had a more refined and calm aura about him. What's the rush? Harvey stood at the door and glanced at Parker. His eyes then locked onto the female in Parker's arms. Is this female injured? Bring her inside right away. Harvey glanced at Bai Qingqing's face and asked, does she have facial injuries? Did you apply mud on her face because she got stung by a bee? No. Look at her ankle. Parker helped Bai Qingqing to sit on the ground, then lifted her leg up and showed it to Harvey. Harvey bent down and looked at her ankle. He frowned and replied, it's a sprain. I'll help her improve the blood circulation around her ankle first. Although Parker was worried, he didn't forget to comfort Bai Qingqing. He held Bai Qingqing's mud-covered face and said, don't worry. Harvey studied medicine in the city of beastmen. You'll feel better in no time. Harvey suddenly exclaimed. He pulled at Bai Qingqing's shoelaces and asked, what's this? I'm going to massage your ankle for you. Can I take this off? Bai Qingqing couldn't help but laugh at Harvey's reaction. She smiled and bent down to take off her shoe. Of course, you can. Harvey so surprised by seeing her foot. She asked, crap, did my foot give something away? Are beastmen's feet different from mine? Qingqing was so nervous she felt like her heart would stop beating. She suddenly heard Harvey's amazed voice. What a beautiful foot. Parker instantly came back to his senses at the sound of Harvey's voice. He glared at Harvey and warned him, if you take another look at her foot, I'll bite your head off. Quickly treat her ankle. Realizing that his reaction was inappropriate, Harvey immediately got up and walked away. Before long, he came back with a piece of yellow-colored root. Ginger. Bai Qingqing was confused. This guy wanted to use ginger to treat her ankle? You know what this is? Harvey glanced at Bai Qingqing in surprise. The female's eyes were bright and soft. His heart was seemingly captured by her, and he couldn't act like himself. This is called yellow root. It can dispel coldness and improve blood circulation. I'm going to use this to massage your ankle, Harvey said somewhat nervously. It was clearly ginger. Bai Qingqing secretly grumbled that the beastmen were weird for using their seasonings as medicine instead of using it on food. Harvey set down the ginger and rubbed his hands rapidly before laying his palms over Bai Qingqing's ankle and rubbing it with a proper application of strength. It was only then that Bai Qingqing felt a spicy and hot sensation on her skin. It was indeed working. Staring at Harvey's actions, Parker frowned hard and finally couldn't tolerate it any longer. He shoved Harvey aside and declared, let me do it. Slightly displeased at being shoved away, Harvey said with a sullen expression, you don't know how to. What if you hurt the female? Parker hesitated a moment, then stiffened his neck and said, you teach me. Although Harvey was a refined person, he was very insistent at this moment. He stared at Parker without saying a word. The uncomfortable Bai Qingqing struggled to squirm out from Parker's arms. Stop fighting. Let me do it myself. Don't move. Parker rebuked her. Seeing this, Harvey no longer dared to insist. He said to Parker, watch carefully. Harvey lifted Bai Qingqing's leg and massaged it in slow motion. This time, Parker could only hold himself back. Then, after memorizing the moves and key points, he took over. Parker feared he would hurt Bai Qingqing, so he was extra cautious and didn't use as much strength as Harvey. He carefully observed Bai Qingqing's expression as he massaged her leg, asking her every now and then if it hurt. Bai Qingqing felt that this wasn't something to fuss over. So long as he didn't cause her pain, she was fine with it. Hence, every time Parker asked, she would reply that she was fine. After massaging for a while, Parker asked, is there anything else to be done? Harvey said with a cold face, depends on her condition tomorrow, bring back this piece of yellow root and rub it on her leg when you're free. Just as they were about to leave, Bai Qingqing suddenly tiptoed over with her injured ankle to take a look at the mortars and pestles. Aren't these peppers? So, cooking ingredients are basically used as medicine here. That's strange. People don't season their food here, but they use spices as medicine. I was really worried about the taste of food here. With these, things may turn around. Bai Qingqing asked with a pleasing smile on her face. Harvey, where can we find these medicinal herbs? His face flushing in an instant. Without hesitation, he stammered, if you want, you can take it. No need, no need. Parker waved both hands. Standing between the two of them, Parker fiercely glared at Bai Qingqing, then snapped at Harvey. My female doesn't want anything from you. I will pay you with food. Also, she has said that she only wants me as a partner. Harvey's expression dimmed, a hint of jealousy in his sour voice. Is it? It was only then that Bai Qingqing realized this Harvey had taken a fancy to her. She was surprised at the brutal and simplistic approach the males took towards relationships in this world. After selecting the condiments she wanted, she told Harvey, I want these. Harvey immediately snapped out of his gloomy state and quickly brought over a stack of dried tree leaves to wrap the medicinal herbs up in. The other medicines aren't very dangerous. This red kind is called red clips. Please be careful to not touch them directly for too long and never get them in your eyes. It is very painful. She thanked him with a smile, then took from the pack of ingredients from Harvey. Parker snatches this and said, I'll hold it for you, don't touch it. She replied with a smile, all right, then let's head back. Parker thanked to Harvey for today and warned him better not think about stealing my female. Parker said to Ching, you're mine, female. Mine alone, and kissed on her head. They are returned to Parker's home. Parker knows after all that she must be hungry. We will eat meat. But even though Parker seemed to have dipped it in a lot of salt, the level of saltiness was actually just fine. Still, she feels that this meat is so dry. It almost has no taste at all. Bai Qingqing handed Parker the condiments she had selected earlier. Try and use these things to roast the meat. My people do this. It tastes really good with these. Parker instantly said, these are medicine, they can't be eaten. Bai Qingqing looked at Parker earnestly. Believe me, just try it. Parker looks her face, she's too beautiful. I feel like my heart's gonna stop. There was no way he could refuse her. Fine, I'll try it. But I'm going first to make sure it's safe. You can have it after me. Bai Qingqing minced the garlic, ginger, and other seasonings on a stone and then applied them on some wolf meat that had been previously cut. After that, she sprinkled some salt on the meat and roasted it over the open fire. There was amazement in Parker's eyes as he sniffed carefully. His mouth couldn't help but water. Oh my God! What's the smell? He immediately thought that he was trying the meat for his female, then calmly placed it in his mouth. How did it taste so good? He couldn't believe it. Bai Qingqing licked her lips as she looked at Parker and she asked, is it good? Parker nodded instinctively, then stopped and chewed calmly. It's delicious. This is the best meat I have ever had in my life. I want more. Parker had finished eating all the wolf meat and there were only bones left. Parker licked his lips and let out a burp. Satisfied, he said, I haven't had such a good meal in a long time. She asked curiously, what are you doing? Parker replied he went into the mountains to beat up a tiger, then sent it to Harvey as payment for the medical treatment and medicinal herbs. You can just take a break. When she is at home alone sleeping and thinking she might as well just make herself at home. She should focus on fitting in before finding a way to go back. Suddenly a voice comes into her ears, female, I am home. I am back. Parker purposely said in a loud voice, after I was done hunting, I found something that looked really strange. I thought it was yours, so I brought it back for you. She is very happy by seeing this and thanked him for this. Then continued taking stock of the things in her backpack. She had toothbrushes, some toothpaste, a wooden comb, a square-shaped towel to wash her face with, a clean set of underwear, a key holder, and various odds and ends. She takes her underwear in hand and said that these things would be so useful. He sniffed it and curiously held up underwear in his hand and asked, what are these? Bai Qingqing noticed Parker's actions out of the corner of her eye and immediately snatched back her underwear. I already said to call me Bai Qingqing. Don't call me female. Just call me Qingqing. Parker carefully ruminated over those two words and then chuckled. Qingqing, your name is prettier than all the other females from the 3 largest clans in the City of Beasts. I'll take you to the city when I get the chance. I'll have them see how amazing my female is. She asked casually. What's the City of Beast men? He replied, the City of Beasts is the largest airing of animals in our region. Bai Qingqing glanced at Parker. Did this guy have any painful memories about the City of Beast men? With this guess in mind, Bai Qingqing didn't ask further. He said, Qingqing, I'll make some clothes for you. Your clothes stand out way too much. Bai Qingqing was surprised. You know how to sew clothes? Of course. Parker raised his chin. Get up. I'll take your measurements. Okay. Bai Qingqing immediately stood up and spread out her arms to let Parker take her chest measurements. Parker held the cowhide as his eyes landed on Bai Qingqing's full chest. Before taking her measurements, he used his hands to squeeze it. Ah! Bai Qingqing automatically stepped back and wrapped her arms around her chest. She glared at Parker angrily. What the hell are you doing? Parker was shocked by Bai Qingqing's violent reaction. He said, you're my female. So what if I squeeze them a little? She said, you're a pervert. Parker replied in a baffled manner. What's a pervert? I'm a leopard. He walked closer to Bai Qingqing as he continued, quickly let me take your measurements. Bai Qingqing continued to step backward with her arms still wrapped around her chest. Go away. I don't want to have clothes made for me anymore. Seeing Bai Qingqing all tensed up, Parker knew that he'd scared her and immediately softened his voice. Okay, I won't squeeze your chest anymore. Parker eventually finished taking her measurements. He then sat on his grass nest and sewed a top using a needle made of fishbone with a serious and focused look on his face. The clothes were finished within half an hour. Bai Qingqing was full of anticipation as she took them, but her facial expression stiffened when she actually saw them. He asked, female, do you think I did a bad job or something? She replied with smile on her face, it's fine. It's very sturdy. Parker's eyes instantly lit up as if they were light bulbs with increased voltage. Really? Yeah, Bai Qingqing nodded sincerely. I will put it on after taking a shower. Parker thinks that if she goes to river for a bath then other males see her. There's no way she can go bathe at the river. No. I can't ever let other males see her. You'll do that here. I'll get water for you. I'm going to take a bath then. You should go out. Further unsatisfied, Parker immediately protested. We're a couple. What kind of couple would we be if we don't take a bath together? Qingqing walked over and pushed Parker towards the door. That won't do either. Get out, get out. When Parker reached the door, he reached out and closed it. It immediately became dark in the house. Bai Qingqing couldn't see anything as her eyes hadn't adjusted to the light. Parker replied, it's so other males won't be able to see you. Get the job done, quick. If it gets cold, you'll get sick. Bai Qingqing let out a sigh of relief. It was dark inside the house and Parker probably wouldn't be able to see anyway. She took off her clothes. Parker, on the other hand, was stunned the moment he saw Bai Qingqing's nude body. His vertical pupils dilated, allowing his eyes to absorb as much light as possible and take in the beautiful scenery in the house. This is female's body. Bai Qingqing was 1/4 Russian as her paternal grandmother was a Russian. As a result, her skin was white as snow and comparable to those. Although Parker could only see Bai Qingqing's back, the sight of his female's fair skin and graceful curves caused his body to suddenly heat up. Heat rushed to his abdomen and his mouth turned dry. He felt extremely awful, but he couldn't take his eyes off of her. This was a female's body? Parker used to think females weren't that attractive, but now he suddenly thought that they were the most beautiful beings in the world. Was he supposed to feel this way towards a female he liked? Parker felt that he'd turned into a mindless idiot too now that he has a female? Qingqing sensed that the atmosphere was weird as she showered. Qingqing felt that someone is watching her. It's Parker, there's a pervert. She wrapped her arms around her chest and turned around. The sight before her eyes frightened her. Parker ran like the wind as he rushed out the door. He has never seen such a beautiful female like this. I need to calm down, and he jumped into the water outside. But still he can't come down. She realized that Parker is a leopard. A leopard is a nocturnal animal. It can see in the dark. Didn't that mean he had seen her bare body? But she can't blame him, this is too embarrassing. She started crying and thinks she want to just crawl under a rock and never come out. Parker only returned after a long while. Both of them seemed nervous and awkward. Let's go to sleep. Parker was eventually the one who broke the silence. She looked at Parker's figure and asked, where am I going to sleep? Parker patted the grass next to him. Sleep here, this is the straw mattress I made. Isn't it soft and comfy? After hesitating for a long time, Bai Qingqing still walked over to him. She was just going to sleep beside him. It wasn't like that would make her pregnant. However, Parker rolled over and reached out his slim yet muscular arms to pull Bai Qingqing into his embrace. He even placed one of his legs over hers. Bai Qingqing quickly placed a hand against Parker's chest. Although she was flustered, she asked him in a fierce voice, what are you doing? Let go of me. Parker said her not to worry, he won't reproduce with her yet. Bai Qingqing's pale face flushed red, then the color drained from her face again. She said, reproduce, my ass. The hug felt abnormally warm and Bai Qingqing struggled to break away from him. Let go of me. Ugh, Parker let out a muffled sound. Bai Qingqing immediately felt a hard stick poke her thigh. It felt as hot as a glowing iron bar. Before her brain could react, Bai Qingqing moved tentatively. She then felt the stick twitch violently. Finally connecting the dots in her head, Bai Qingqing screamed as she harshly pushed Parker and got up. Parker's voice was scarily hoarse as he hugged Bai Qingqing tightly. Don't move around. I can still control myself. She was pretty good at biology. She quickly calmed down and didn't dare to move. She stammered, you said that you won't reproduce with me. Of course, Parker panted heavily. Then, why'd you? Bai Qingqing was too embarrassed to finish her sentence. Parker understands and said, all right, just fall asleep. My heart's pounding like a drum. They were silent for the rest of the night. We just stayed like this the whole night. I didn't dare move an inch. Seeing that Bai Qingqing had woken up, Parker purred and lovingly licked Bai Qingqing all the way up the side of her face with his long and thin tongue. Bai Qingqing cradled her face and whined. Those hurts. Why did you lick me? He replied, your skin is so soft, it turned red from a single lick. Bai Qingqing only realized that Parker was naked when she pushed him away. She immediately turned away and got up from the grass. Go put on some clothes. He will get some more mud. He can't bring you outside like this. Qingqing muttered, don't you just want me to be uglier? I have an alternative. Using her makeup kit, she drew dots on her cheeks and nose bridge. She asked to Parker, how's this? This should be fine, right? He replied, that's good. You're way too ugly now. I'm sure that no one would want you. She watches in the mirror and thinks she looked like a country bumpkin. It'll be a wonder if anyone falls for her. A smile slowly spread across Parker's face as he crouched down in front of Bai Qingqing and said, I have nothing to worry about now that you look like that. Let's go, I will show you around our village. Somewhat interested, Bai Qingqing followed Parker out of the house. People in the tribe watching her and thinking that it's the female that Parker brought yesterday. She's so pale. She has a good figure. It's a shame that she's a bit ugly. After observing closely for a while, Bai Qingqing realized there are a lot of hot guys around here. She is still unfamiliar with this place, so she can't just ask a random person to help her. Bai Qingqing noticed a few females gathered together from afar. She then walked towards the females without waiting for Parker. She could only try to build good impression with the females. Bai Qingqing smiled and asked Bai Qingqing, "Can I join you guys?" A young female looked in her direction. "Are you the female that Parker brought back?" This female answered her politely, "My name's Eve." After Eve introduced herself, she introduced her to every female present. Eventually, she pointed to the female who'd spoken to Parker the day before and said, "That's Eudora, mistress with lots of guys wrapped around her little finger." By seeing Qingqing face, Eudora thinks so this is Parker's female. She has spots all over her face. "There's no way she's better than me." Eudora rolled her eyes and walked over to Parker. "You'll need a lot more than just a nice figure. Parker, it's my estrus cycle right now. As long as you're willing, I'll reproduce with you and we'll have a whole litter of cubs." The other beast surprised and asked, "What? Why do you have to make babies with him?" Qingqing really do feel bad for the men in this world. They have to wait in line to reproduce according to how much their wife likes them. What a tragedy. Parker glared at Bai Qingqing, then calmly replied to Eudora, "Thank you for your affection, but I already have a mate. And congratulations, you'll be able to have cubs this year." Humiliated at being rejected again, Eudora pointed at Bai Qingqing and sneered. "How is she better than me? Look at her, she doesn't even have a beast mark. She probably didn't mature properly and doesn't have an estrus cycle." Parker immediately retorted, "Qingqing is still young. It's not strange that she doesn't have a mark." Eudora's right, Bai Qingqing thought. She hadn't heard of humans going into heat before. After receiving yet another insult, despite not feeling angry, Bai Qingqing couldn't simply stand there and let herself be bullied any longer. Qingqing turned to her. "Eudora, it's true that I'm not better than you, but I think you should respect your partners more. They love you with all their hearts, yet you still want to have babies with someone else. If I were them, I would rather be single my whole life." Everyone went silent at Bai Qingqing's words. Eudora's male's eyes all turned red as they turned to look in Qingqing's direction. They all had the same thought. If only she was my female. Eudora turned around to observe her mate's crap. Is that what she's going for? She wants to disrupt how everything's done? Aren't you just saying that to appease the males? If you can't reproduce, no male will ever love you. Harvey happened to pass by with a woven basket on his back. He'd already been listening for a while and was stunned after hearing Bai Qingqing's words. Seeing that Eudora still had more to say, he stepped forward without a second thought and retorted, "I like her." Harvey continued in a serious voice, "Love between male and a female isn't just about reproduction. I would love Bai Qingqing even if she can't reproduce." Parker was furious. He immediately pulled Bai Qingqing behind him so that she was no longer in Harvey's line of sight. "You don't have a say in this matter. I wouldn't mind either if Bai Qingqing can't have a child. I don't need you to love my female." Harvey already heard this before and he didn't feel sad. He simply turned towards Bai Qingqing and said, "If you need any more medicine, feel free to come take some at my place. You don't have to give me food in return." Pleased that he'd managed to get rid of a love rival, Parker said Qingqing don't mind him. "I already remember what those medicines taste like. I can go pick more for you on the mountain." Qingqing muttered, "Why did they just automatically assume that I'm infertile? Just because I don't have an estrus cycle?" Bai Qingqing's senses focused on the lower part of her body as she thought about this. She then realized it was a little warm and damp down there. Her irregular period came without warning. Parker was the first to notice the odd smell as out of all the males, he was standing the closest to Bai Qingqing. He leaned towards her and sniffed. "Why do you suddenly smell so good? Let's go home." Bai Qingqing grabbed onto Parker, wanting to leave. Before Parker could react, a male standing nearby noticed out of the corner of his eye that blood was running down Bai Qingqing's fair legs and gasped. "Look, she reached her estrus cycle." Bai Qingqing felt everyone's eyes on her, or more accurately between her thighs. Parker carried Bai Qingqing and quickly ran off, even laughing excitedly while doing so. "I'm so happy. My female reached her estrus cycle. She's at her estrus cycle." Eve said with a small smile, "Don't be upset, Eudora. Bai Qingqing just arrived at our village. We have to be nicer to her." "Humph." Eudora gave Eve a pointed look before she turned around and walked away, her mates following behind her. Parker carried Bai Qingqing back to the wooden house and placed her on the grass nest. "This is wonderful. Qingqing, once you stop bleeding, we can reproduce and have cubs." She surprised and said, "Reproduce? Are periods the same as estrus cycles in this world? She is still underage. Childbirth will be very difficult for her." He coldly dismissed Bai Qingqing's nonsense. "An estrus cycle means that you're mature." Qingqing replied, "But I had my first one when I was 13. There's no way that they start reproducing at 13, right?" She averted her eyes before asking tentatively, "The females here. How old are they when they first start their estrus cycles? How long is each cycle? How often is it?" Parker replied, "About 15 or 16 years old. Each cycle lasts about 5 days and it's once a year." He then glared at Bai Qingqing and asked in his usual authoritative voice, "You're already an adult. Why don't you know all this? Did your people not teach you anything? She looked up at Parker with pitiful, downturned eyes. She looked as naive and innocent as a child. What do I do now? How do females deal with this? They don't just let the blood flow like that, right? Parker carry out the cotton flowers outside. He has seen females ask their partners to get these for them. Ching praised him for that and thanked him. By Ching with her back to Parker, she removed her stained underwear and placed some cotton on damp underwear she'd washed the night before with bathwater before putting it on. Parker turned to her. Because you're at your estrus cycle. We'll both have to eat more for energy. She asked. It makes sense that I have to eat because I am losing blood, but what do you need more meat for? Parker chuckled. For reproducing, of course. Ching thinks, is he dumb or something? Why is reproducing always on his mind? She got angry and clearly denied she don't want to reproduce with him. You should just send me back to the forest if you do. Parker's expression darkened in an instant. And he asked, do you hate me that much? She shook her head and said, no, I'm very thankful to you. I like you too. However, I don't think our relationship has advanced to that step yet. If you're going to force me, leaving will be my only choice. Parker's raised heart lowered at her words, the darkness and maniac in his eyes dissipating. Yet, he feigned anger and continued, there are more than just beasts in the forest. There are feral ones too. They'll imprison you if they catch you. They'll make you keep having babies for them and they'll hit you if you don't. They don't care about your feelings. Bai Ching's face turned pale. Feral beast? She doesn't know what feral beasts are? Parker is guessing she was raised with a lot of protection. Feral beasts are beast men who were rejected by females, beasts such as snakes and lizards. They are all cold-blooded creatures. They have no regard for females, they treat females terribly. Bai Ching felt a chill all over her body upon learning this. That would truly be more tragic than being eaten alive by wild wolves. Are you still leaving? Parker assumed a calm and composed manner as he gazed at Bai Ching. She shook her head repeatedly. Not leaving anymore, Parker chuckled. Then, let's reproduce. He is so impatient because fertility rate is way too low. If we miss this chance, we'll have to wait until next year. An idea suddenly struck Bai Ching. She hurriedly said, no, I have this every month. I can get pregnant at any time. Impossible. Unmoved by her words, Parker declared, I'm not like those males from small tribes who haven't seen the world. I've seen many females and all of them go into periods once a year. Same for you apes. The exasperated Bai Ching felt like crying. But I'm a pure human. Nobody here can understand my pain of having a period every single month. She said, Parker, let's build up our feelings before considering reproduction. Ching thought to herself, if I don't manage to convince Parker on the last day of my period, I will confess to him my identity as a pure human. After eating meat for several consecutive meals, Ching was getting sick of it. Just then she saw Eve walking out of the village, so she hurriedly said to Parker, I am going over to Eve. All that goes on in Parker's mind is reproduction. She can't stand sitting around under the same roof as him all day. Eve, who was holding a small rattan basket under her arms, greeted Bai Ching cheerfully upon seeing her. Bai Ching returned the smile. Seeing the 3 little kittens in the basket Eve was holding, she asked, they're so cute, are they your cats? She raised her basket and teased the little kittens inside and said, they're not cats, they're the cubs I gave birth to. Bai Ching kept away the shock on her face and said, I have never seen leopard cubs. Sorry about that. Eve replied to her, you just reached your estrus cycle, very soon you'll be able to have little leopard cubs with Parker. Congrats. Eve congratulated from the bottom of her heart. But I don't want to reproduce with Parker. Bai Ching's eyes lowered as she said drearily. Although I'm very grateful to him, this is all happening too fast for me. I'm unable to accept that. Eve then urged. Having children is a woman's duty. Moreover, there aren't a lot of beast men. We're the only ones that are keeping us alive. If you don't hate him, you should definitely reproduce with him soon. Ching clarified she don't want to have babies this early. Eve's hesitant heart tipped and biased towards Bai Ching. You can simply tell Parker you're unwilling. I've told him that. He refuses to listen to me. Eve revealed a sly grin. Then you should threaten him. Bai Ching asked with uncertainty, will that work? Eve suddenly said in a serious tone. Exactly. Just say something like, you'll cancel your spousal relationship with him after you reproduce. He'll definitely take you more seriously. She further explained her if females don't love a male, they can break off from them. However, the men who are abandoned will never be able to have partners ever again. Not even if they rejoice with you. So, a male can only have one partner in their whole life? That's horrible. Bai Ching returned feeling satisfied after the conversation with Eve. Where did you go? You've been gone for so long, your cotton must be soaked by now. Bai Ching looked up at Parker and declared, I've decided to temporarily avoid reproducing with you for now. Your decision is not important. I insist on mating, Parker said, using his identity as Bai Ching's mate as if it was perfectly natural. You don't have other males. Who are you going to reproduce with? Bai Ching averted her eyes and gleefully said, nobody. But if you try and force yourself on me, I'll cancel our spousal relationship after it's done. Eyes widening, Parker said angrily, you dare? Why won't I? You can try if you want. Parker said with sad mood, how did I fall for such a heartless female like you? Yet she couldn't bear to see Parker too sad. So, she decided to give a carrot after the stick. We can still properly develop our feelings for each other. After that, we can have as many babies as we want. Not believing this, Parker refused to give up. I don't believe you'll be so heartless. Bai Qingqing knew that with her personality, the more she said, the less convincing she would seem. Hence, she simply said, up to you to believe or not. She then walked out. I'm off to hunt. It's such a beautiful day. I should go find some vegetables or something. It's unhealthy to eat meat every day. I need some vitamins. Finally, she has found something to eat. These sprouts taste really refreshing in the summertime. As she ate, Bai Qingqing continued bending over and continued looking. Accidentally, she lost her footing and fell. Bai Qingqing fell into a black cave and instantly sniffed an intensely damp stench. How is she going to go back up? Raising her head, she saw speckles of sunlight shining in through the vines outside. Ah, she had thought perfect. If I step on that rock, I should be able to get back up. That was indeed a rock. Bai Qingqing was about to lift it away when she noticed something lying on top of it. Why is there a piece of cloth here? Reaching out to feel it, the fabric felt cold and soft to the touch like silk. The surface was uneven as if there were prints on it. Bai Qingqing rubbed it with 2 fingers and found that the fabric was quite resilient. She had a feeling this fabric wasn't silk as it didn't snag as easily. I wonder who left this behind. I'll bring it back and ask Parker. Perhaps someone from the tribe lost it and an animal brought it here. Bai Qingqing carried the stack of cloth. She got back to Parker's wooden house and said to Parker with a cute smile, look at what I found. Parker's eyes swept over that fabric, then towards Bai Qingqing's face. As if he suddenly discovered something, he slapped away the fabric in Qingqing's hands. Grabbing her hands, he asked anxiously, where did you get this from? Bai Qingqing asked urgently, by the lake. What's wrong? Parker's brows knitted together tightly as he murmured softly, how is it possible? What exactly is this? Parker hurriedly composed himself and answered calmly, a feral beast has come to our tribe. She asked, didn't you say feral beasts don't appear around here? What kind of fabric is this? Why does it have to do with ferals? He replied, Qingqing, this isn't cloth. This is an adult snake, man's shed skin. An adult snake will use their skin to appease their spoluses. This one seems to be quite good at that. It's a shame though. She asked, a shame? Why? He replied, it's a shame that it's in my hands now. I'm going to burn it. For trying to attract my woman. She was the one who brought back the snakeskin. Moreover, it was something important to a snake beast man. How could they just burn it? No way. You'd better return it. Humph. He deserves death. Not only am I going to burn his snakeskin, but I'm also going to gather the tribe to kill him. Parker carried a pile of firewood and walked out to start a fire outside. Seeing Parker's tough attitude, Bai Qingqing held back the uncomfortable sensation and, carrying the snakeskin with her, quietly left. He was both furious and anxious. This stupid female. Didn't I tell her that feral beasts are wicked? Parker hurriedly ran out of the village. Carrying the heavy snakeskin, Bai Qingqing had just gotten to the entrance of the valley when she halted in her footsteps. A naked young man stood outside the village. Who is this? He's so handsome. He has twice as many tattoos than Parker. Red hair. Her vision accidentally sweeping to his naked lower body. And she saw that there were 2 penises there. Qingqing. Parker's panicked voice could be heard from behind. Qingqing abruptly turned around to see Parker running towards her, yelling, come over quickly. It was only then that Bai Qingqing realized the man before her was a feral beast. She was about to run when, unexpectedly, she was being held forcefully in place by a cold and large hand. She wasn't very good looking, but her eyes were inexplicably charming. She didn't have any marks of having a mate on her body. Is she underage? Parker roared upon seeing that Bai Qingqing was captured. His eyes had turned red in anxiety as he transformed into his beast form after letting out a growl. His muscular body pounced at the snake beast man like a tiger pounced on its prey, completely ignoring the fact that he was facing a 4-striped opponent. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be a 4-striped feral beast. He was too careless. It was only until the leopard came within 10 meters of him that a black and red figure flashed across the skies, followed by a loud growl as the leopard fell heavily on the ground. Parker. What's going on? Sounds like Parker's voice. Something must have happened. Let's hurry over and take a look. The males rushed out of the village in a group and saw Parker battling a snake beast man. It was indeed a feral beast. It's a snake. He has Parker's female. Parker's injured. Help him. Instantly, the males let out their rage, and the 100 over of them completely transformed into their animal forms, making a series of loud banging noises. Just as they were about to charge at him, they froze in their steps uniformly as the snake beast man looked towards them. What? He's a beast man with 4 animal stripes? There were only 5 beastmen with 4 animal stripes in the city of beastmen. How could this feral beast have 4 animal stripes? The most formidable one amongst them only had 1 animal stripe, so of course they didn't have the guts to fight a beastman with 4 animal stripes. Even if the entire tribe were to come out and help, they might not necessarily be able to help Parker snatch back his female. but it was certain that their tribe would end up with many casualties and injuries. Seeing that the group of beasts wasn't attacking him, Curtis shifted his gaze away. His half-transformed animal form stood even taller as he lifted Bai Qingqing off the ground. Bai Qingqing felt despair at seeing the tribe's males waver. Kicked into the air once again by the snake's tail, Parker staggered to his feet with blood all over his body. He glanced towards Bai Qingqing with his bloodshot golden eyes before letting out a growl and pouncing at the snake once again. As Bai Qingqing and Parker's gazes met, Bai Qingqing's tears slipped down instantly. She screamed in her heart, "Just leave me alone." However, under that circumstance, she couldn't utter a single sound. Curtis was a lazy snake who liked to go with the flow and didn't like complicating issues. Now that over 100 beastmen had come over, he wanted to get it over and done with as quickly as possible. This time his tail didn't toss Parker into the air again, but instead curled and slightly shifted backward before sweeping up vigorously, rolling around the leopard that had leaped up into the air. The leopard let out a roar as his soft waist was tightly encircled, continuously vomiting out fresh blood from his mouth. In between the tightening of the snake's tail, the sound of the bone's abrasion could be heard indistinctly. Bai Qingqing hurriedly looked towards the snake beastman's face. "Let go of him quickly." Curtis lowered his head and looked at Bai Qingqing, his gaze as calm as ever. Clearly, Parker's attack was nothing in his eyes. Bai Qingqing frantically glanced at Parker, feeling more anxious now. "Let go of him, I beg of you." Bai Qingqing's eyes brimmed with tears, her slightly downturned eyes making her look pitiful and innocent. Even the black freckles all over her face didn't conceal their attractiveness. Curtis gently kissed Bai Qingqing's eye and pecked away the tears. He let go of her and said gently, "Okay?" Curtis twisted his body and turned around. Going towards the deep into the forest, he said to Parker, "Don't come after me if you want to live." Parker is seriously injured and now he can't even move. He is angry and started crying, "Qingqing. Qingqing.